Let's check out my most uncommon, rare, and most precious plants in this video. A terrarium tour. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Roos, and for this Vlogmas episode, I thought it would be fun to finally do the terrarium tour that I've promised you for ages. So let's take a look inside. This is my setup right now. I currently have only one working grow light because the other one just clicked and stopped working. And when I messaged the customer service, they told me I have to pay about $40 to get the replacement shipping costs, when this full light with two pieces cost me $45. And I thought that was very weird and not a very good customer service. Don't worry, this is not the one I recommend on my Amazon page. I've linked that below, and that is actually from Amazon, so you get the service that you deserve and not just some crappy person that says you have to pay again for getting a replacement for a light that only lasted a few months. By the way, if you have a tip of how I can possibly fix this myself, I might give it a try, so let me know in the comments. Thanks! I've moved the light over to the right where the Hoyas and the propagations are because my Anthurium are starting to bleach a little bit. They're getting too much light. I have a fan in here that circles the air through the terrarium. I have a little humidifier, donut humidifier, which I don't recommend. They die very quickly, but for now, this one is still working. Sorry for the light flickering. I'll try and make that better in a moment. And I have two heat mats in here with not just straight onto leca. I put tiles that were left over from the kitchen underneath, just like I have here, so that it's actually laying quite flat. And then things so that there is no water sitting on the heat mat. That second one only goes on during the day and switches off at night so that it improves the temperature in there. It actually made it about 5 to 7 degrees warmer, which is awesome. It's not sitting straight against the glass because that's not good, but a little bit away from it. As you can see, actually the glass is pretty dirty. I clean this as often as I can, but yeah, this is a difficult thing about glass. It's actually also just generally very dusty. Let's check out the plants on this side first. We've got a lot of pots here. All the tiny pots. These are all my Hoyas and some Philodendron. So let's just start over here. This is Hoya clemensiorum. I got propagations from really amazing Hoyas and I cut them up into two parts. So for example, this is also clemensiorum, the same cutting, but this one is growing in ceramics and this one is growing in soil because I wanted to make sure that it would survive in my care. And as you can, okay, we've got a little bit of space now to work. I removed some of the pieces. So here is the clemensiorum, and as you can see, there is new growth on it. Hey, little bark piece. So we've got, can we focus on it? 2 tiny leaves and then a new growth point. Very, very exciting, and also a fresh root over there on the corner. I'm really happy that this rooted and is growing because I can't wait to see new leaves on this. Imagine how cool they will look. The veiny ones that turn super red if you give it enough light. Anyway, let's continue. The next one here is a little bit of a sad propagation, but this actually is looking a lot better than when I got it. This was really dried out, and as you can see, it's still a little bit dried out, but I think it has rooted. I'm not going to pull it out just to make it sure that it is okay. This is a finlaysonii cutting. Very small one. I do have another one that I'll show you in a moment. But that keeps drying out a lot, so that's why I put it in a pot, inside a pot. Next one is Hoya meredithii, with 2 big leaves on it and a peduncle at the end there. And this also, I hope you can see, this wants a little bit of water, is growing. So we've got a baby leaf there and then a little stem that continues growing. I'm really excited to see this. You can't really see in the light of the terrarium, but it's got some really nice veining and just generally a very cool plant. And you can see it's rooted quite well. Yay! I love soil propagation. I just get it. And especially in a pot that is see-through, that makes it just quite easy for me and predictable, which is nice. So over here, I already showed you the clemensiorium. I always say it wrong. The I needs to be somewhere where I don't think it is. Anyway, there is growth on that right there. And there's also growth on the other side. And you can actually see this is growing. I'll take it out. This is growing from below the eye that you would expect it to grow from, which means that I probably potted this up the wrong way around. But that doesn't matter for Hoyas. They just grow anyway. And I made sure that the eye was sitting above the ceramis level just to make sure that if that happens, then it's okay. And also it helps to not rot the leaves that are on there off. And also this one has rooted quite well. This is just a reusable pot from tomatoes with no drainage, by the way. Some people have been asking. I use these without drainage for rooting. And then once the plant is settled, I will move them maybe to a pot that does have drainage. I don't water them very much, and I don't let water sit in them either. So that goes back in here. Very careful because, of course, new growth is super easily damaged. Then on this side, we've got the other meredithii propagation. Here you can see a little bit better what it looks like with the veins. And this one, I think it's starting to grow. That's recent. I didn't see that before. It definitely did root, but now I think it's also growing. That flickering light is pretty annoying. Sorry about that. Maybe this is better. Can you see? Growing. Yay! That I'm reusing to put seeds in. This is magnificum mixed with crystallinum that I potted up on the 13th of November. And I recently checked this actually. This is, can you see? Wait, there is a little tiny seed with a tiny, tiny root at the end. The other one wasn't looking as good, but there are two in here. I got that from Micah. Amazing. And the moss does dry out even with this lid, so I'm keeping a better eye on it because you don't want your seeds to go dry. Once they go dry, then they will die. So popping that back in there. And there's another pot like that at the back here. These were potted a little bit earlier, end of October, and also these seem to grow very fast. I recently made this wet again because it was dried out a little bit. You can see here, there is a tiny crystallinum baby. That's the root, and then that's the growth and the leaf. It is sitting against the top a little bit, so I should try and push it in a little bit without breaking. There are 8 seeds in here, but sometimes it takes a while for them to... Oh, actually, that one looks like it is not growing. And here's another one that's not growing for sure. Hard to focus because these are so small. But there's the one that's still green, looking okay. So yeah, it's always a gamble with seeds. You don't know what's going to happen. Close properly. Pop back on the heat mat. There we go. That's that one. Then in this corner, we've got adorable Hoya. It's labeled bilobata. I know people have discussions about this. It might be Bertoni. I don't really care about that discussion, to be honest. This is a plant that I absolutely love. It's got really, really nice purple corners, edges, so sun stress. And I don't know if you can see because this is such a small plant, but in the corner there is new growth. There's a tiny little leaf and then also a stem sitting there. Can we focus on that? No. It's having a bit of trouble because it is so small, but I hope you can see. The other one hasn't shown growth yet, but they both haven't died either, so that's good. And it does have a peduncle as well, which is very exciting. I might get flowers sooner than normal. Pop that back in there. I like that we can see it from the front as well, so that's really fun. I still haven't shown you the actual finlaysonii, which is this one. It came with a very weird stem, which is why you're looking at the back of this leaf, because there's a big... I'll try and get it out. It's easier. there's a big bend in this growth. See? It's very random and very hard to decide how to pot it up. But as you can see here, the stem continues over there, and then I left this sitting on the ceramis, and I think this actually might be growing, this node. There's definitely roots growing there, and I think that one is activated, so it might start to grow from there. Actually, looking in that corner, that also looks like an activated eye. Do you see? Sorry, why is the light so annoying? So this is a really beautiful veiny plant. Looks a little bit like the meredithii. And here you can see all the little roots. Again, sitting in one of those tubs with no drainage holes. Yay, this is better than I thought. New growth. I can't wait to see new leaves on this one. This is a pretty big jar sitting sort of here. It's like a puzzle getting everything back in, so hopefully it's gonna fit after I've taken everything out for you. I want to show you that later because there are a lot more Hoyas here. Actually, not that many. Can I get this one out? From here you can actually already see it. Let's see. Very careful because I don't want to damage these. There we go. This is Hoya callistophylla that I got as a tiny little propagation from Kat through Instagram. And you can see this leaf grew in my care, and now it's growing 2 more. They are a little bit damaged when I was moving plants around. I think I dented it, the big leaves against the small leaves. But you're really starting to see the beauty now. I'm trying to find light where you can see it with the veins, and then it's it looks like a little bit sun stressed as well. So a little bit red. This is such a cool plant. And it's really compact so far. There's like 6 and now soon to be 8 leaves basically at the same point. So I wonder if this is going to make a little tendril that stands up, or if it's just going to continue being super, super bushy. Definitely one of my favorites. These dry out so fast that I have to be careful. That's why, again, it's in a little pot. There are a lot of roots, which is good. But these are nice to propagate in, but then as soon as the plant has some roots, they are actually not that great because they dry out so fast, especially sitting on a heat mat. Pop that back in. Careful. Yep. Then over here, we've got another Hoya. I'm showing you all the Hoyas first, just because I think that's fun. And then we'll do all the aroids. This is Hoya heuschkeliana variegata, which it's so funny to watch other YouTubers try and pronounce this. It's not a Dutch word, but it's definitely sounds that are normal in Dutch. So there are 2 propagations in here. This one is a little bit bigger and it's grown several leaves in my care already. And this one at the bottom is a little bit smaller, but it's also growing. And I noticed that it actually has, oh, actually this is it. This is another growth point from the same stem. And then on this side is a tiny propagation that is also growing. So I have 3 active growth points on this. And I gave it a little pull because it became so wobbly. But you can see tiny little leaves there. And if you haven't seen this IRL before, it's really cool because the backs of the leaves are not variegated or like differently variegated. And then the tops only are white or slightly pink in this case because it's getting a nice amount of light. Very cool, I thought. And then this one is one of the first that came out for me. It's a lot more green, as you can see. And the next one's turning a little bit more white again. I wonder if that's because the plant needed a little bit more chlorophyll or if it's the light that I was giving it. I don't know. But very, very cute plant. I got this from Rachel on Instagram. She's called Green Life Cork. Green Life Cork, yes. Okay, as I'm putting everything back, of course, there's not going to be space to get the other ones out. But okay, let's just continue with this one. This is a pink princess, so we're adding in some aroids into the mix, if I can get it out. Yes, this is one of my pink princess propagations. The leaves look a little bit greenish. That's normal because I wasn't getting enough air circulation in my terrarium. And this kind of damage on a pink princess leaf is light damage. So this was getting too much light. but you kind of want your plant to be used to a lot of light because it improves the chances. This is not proven, by the way, but it is said to help with getting more variegation on the plant. You can see here there's a tiny bit of pink, and the back is actually a bigger splash of pink. I seem to get a lot of back of the leaves pink. And of course, I was checking the leaf and I ripped it. So don't touch your plants. A lesson I seem to not be able to learn. But yeah, this propagation is rooted in ceramis. And here you can see all the pink fuzzy roots. Once this becomes very overgrown or it stops growing, I will repot it into a bigger pot with soil. And there is a little growth there as well, a new leaf on the way. I might actually keep this in ceramis just to test it out. Most of my plants that I root in perlite, I move to soil afterwards. But maybe I'll keep this one in ceramis. Let me know what you think in the comments. Should I do that, or should I just put everything in soil? I'm going to leave this out for a moment so I have a little bit of space to maneuver, because how else are we going to get everything out? Okay, big one. Can I do that? No. Small one first. This, yes, I'm skipping the pink one, I know, is a new, semi-new propagation I took from my Mama Pink Princess. This leaf came out, and as you can see, it's getting a little bit of light damage. It's a little bit too bright, or maybe I touched it the wrong way when I was repotting it. But there are fuzzy pink roots coming out, at least 2. So that's great. It looks good in general. Not much pink on this one either, but that will be hopefully improving. I'm going to grow these out all the way until probably spring, and then decide which ones I'm going to keep and which ones I will sell. Which I don't like saying, because then I get lots of messages of people wanting to buy them from me, but I will not sell until spring because it's way too cold and the mail is way too busy. Plus, I don't want to send you a half growing plant. I want to make sure that they are okay. Now this one so far is my favorite propagation. The first leaf that came out is this, which is about 2/3 pink. It's so cool. And then the next one is coming out now, so I can't wait to see that. This only recently got moved into ceramis from the mother plant, so there's no roots yet. Hopefully it will grow quickly. I put those sticks there to keep it a little bit balanced, because if the plant is wobbly, it's extra hard for it to root, because the roots want to be stable and then grow and grab onto something, and then they will create the stability. But if the plant is wobbly, then the roots can, as they're coming out, can be damaged, and then your plant will never root. So wanted to make sure that this one is okay because it's so cute. So we got a little pink princess collection up there. Let's just finish it off with the last one over here. This one has been growing a little bit longer already. You can see here, this first leaf is a little bit misshapen. That's actually called a profil, P-R-O-P-H, profil, P-H-Y-L-L. And that's like the first leaf coming out that might be a little bit of a weird shape. This is the second leaf that came out. There is some pink on there. I am a little bit shaky from a busy day. Sorry about that. And the next leaf is about to unfurl. This actually could do with a spray. I don't know if you can see, but it's a little bit stuck. So I'll give it a spray and it will grow a bit easier. Lots of roots again. So that's great. Rooting these has been actually very, very easy. Whether it's in perlite or in ceramis, they've all done really well. Now this one is a little bit of a troublemaker. This was the top cutting from my first Monstera propagation video. And as you can see, it still looks super sad. It had one tiny root finally growing, so I knew that it wasn't dying. It was still alive. But literally, this has been maybe 7 or 8 months, and it has done nothing except one tiny root. So I noticed that the top actually does look a little bit like it was trying to grow, but it was sitting in a thing that was too small. So that's why I moved it to sit upright. I don't see anything, but I'm holding out hope that this will turn into something. So That's actually really dry. I'm gonna spray this with some water to help it out. Let's see, there are a few more Hoyas here. Some of my favorites, actually. This is Hoya erythrina. Oh, look at that new leaf. I didn't see that yet. That is so cute. So I got this one with these 2 leaves and a long tendril. And the tendril has since grown this leaf. And then these 2 leaves with the 3rd baby one. And these 2 leaves. This one was way too close to the light when it came out, so it looks a bit sad. This one looks much better, much more clean. And it was getting so high and tall close to the light that I put it on a little circle trellis. It looks adorable. I hope it will become a full plant so I can move it into my living room next spring. But I'm gonna let it sit in here until probably it gets a little bit warmer again, because these probably don't like my windowsill temperatures of 12 degrees, which is about 55 inside my house in the windowsill. So yeah, don't recommend an old house like this. And then this Hoya, this is the last one in the terrarium. This is my Hoya caudata. And I have no other information. The grower who has it doesn't know either. So these leaves are super big and really cardboardy with a really nice silver splashiness on them. There's 2 parts. This top part is a little bit of a taller stem that is growing a lot. I'll show you in a moment. And then this one, this other leaf also has its own little stem that was just 1 node, but that is also growing a lot. Let me show you a little bit better if I can. So this stem, I don't think it's growing from the bottom yet, but it's grown here. Can we focus? Yeah, there we go. So on the right side, you see a tiny, tiny knob, or that's a weird word if you're British. Sorry about that, a little blob. And then the other side is a really long tendril that grows all the way up here. It does not have leaves yet. Well, it has tiny starts of leaves, of course, but I think since I gave it this support, it's a lot happier and it's starting to grow them out. And this other one actually has, I think, 3 growth points. 2 on the right that are a little bit green but not doing much, and then the other one here, a little fuzzy stem. So I'm actually gonna give this a support as well with this 2nd stick that I had ready for it here. Voila! I gave the small one a small pole, and I gave the longer one a longer pole so that it actually doesn't reach the end already like it was. Hopefully this will work. Actually, I use this, if you haven't seen it yet, this Velcro, which is amazing. Yeah, you can see it now. And you can cut it. I got the really thick one that you use for trees, and you can cut it into the size that you want. But you can also get the thinner one that is more this size for most plants that works better. And so I have both. And I've linked them below and on my website as well if you want to try them. Last plant to look at from this side is the Mama Pink Princess that is here in the corner. I have a little baggie on her for bugs, for bad bugs. I hope I can get her out. Yes. Okay. So this is my Mama one that is actually also growing a few little babies on the side. But what I've done is this plant I took a top cutting. And then once that the new growth came out, like you can see here, for example, then when the first leaf of that opened, you can see there a tiny leaf, but this is a little bit too small still, an actual leaf, then I cut it off and rooted it in ceramis or perlite or whatever. Those are all grown like that. So one leaf came out, then I cut it off, then it rooted, and then it grew a 2nd leaf. And by doing that, it means that the new growth comes out from the mama plant. So it has all the roots it needs to grow first, and then we cut it. So it has a little bit more strength. It's a little bit easier maybe than just cutting this plant up. I think I did this in the spring, I started, and it takes a long time. You have to be patient, but then you do have a lot of strong plants. And I'm actually excited. This next node hasn't done much. It's growing right now. But then the one after that I showed you before is a fully pink profile little leaf baby I wonder what the next one will be like. Obviously, we don't want full pink all the time, but I would like a little bit more pink because most of my pink princesses are fully green. And then this one here, you can see the same kind of profile, tiny little leaf that just kind of opens up the way. This is my interpretation, but it breaks through the stem. It's the first growth, so it can be a little bit damaged. And then it makes space for the next leaf to come out safely. Very exciting. I can't wait to see what that second pink one looks like. This baby has also put out a lot of nice pink. You can see here this nice blob of pink. And the new leaf has a little bit, but not a lot. But then I noticed that there's a few more babies. Pups are that's the official name. Can I show you? Because this is a bit full. Yes. So here, ooh, wait. I need to move some bits out of the way. There we go. So here is, I don't know if it's one baby or maybe two, but there is one leaf that has a lot of pink and a little bit of green on the side. And then the next one is fully pink again. And this one is fully green. So it might be a half-half plant. I don't know. I'm very excited to see that growing. And I will, once I get to the bottom of the mama plant with the propagations, I will take them out as well. I'm going to pop that back. I need both my hands to do that. By the way, I recently moved all of my cords and stuff into this bucket thingy. That looks really nice. I do check it because it's quite new and there is a lot of plugs in here, as you can see, and a lot of timers and stuff. So I sometimes just check and feel if it doesn't feel warm, because if there's so many cords together like this, it can create a fire. So make sure that you keep that in check, that you keep an eye on it. But that does look a lot better than it did before, don't you think? So let's go over to the other side. This is more the aroid side. We will start with the smallest one, I guess. We have a few more seeds here. This is villenaorum seeds that I planted on the 10th of October. Oh, they actually are doing really well. I haven't checked on these for a while. But look, these were gifted to me. I get a lot of questions. How do you get your Anthurium seeds? You just have to know someone, in my opinion. You can buy them from a trusted seller, but not from AliExpress or a Wish. That doesn't work. So these will become a really, really nice Anthurium that is not that well known, I feel like. This seed seems to have slowed a bit compared to his brothers. Do you see that it has a root and a tiny growth point, but not more than that? And these already are growing their third leaf. This is not fully closed. This is just like a little lid to keep a little bit more humidity on there. But so far it seems to be working. Pop that back. These are more villenaorum. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing this right. Seeds. And as you can see, they are growing quite well, but maybe you can also see that this leaf is a little bit yellow. That I think is from too much light, because these grow lights are quite bright for the Hoyas and the propagations and the pink princesses. But at the same time, I have the aroids here. So the Anthurium don't want that much light. But look how, can you see how kind of shimmery they are? Even when they are so small, they're already quite shimmery. So that's really exciting. That sits here in the corner. I put all the small plants at the front because then I can see them from this way as well. Here are a few crystallinum seedlings that I got as seedlings. So I didn't grow these from seed. I do have some crystallinum seeds, but not these ones. They are growing, but oh, actually it's recovered quite a lot. This, again, this is the stupid pots that dry out very quickly. So this yesterday and the day before was like a little limp nothingness. So I gave it a lot of water to help it survive, and it worked. It's solid again and it's standing up on its own. So that's good news. But yeah, I don't recommend these pots for Anthurium seedlings. They need a little bit more consistency in not drying out too much. Whoops, careful with that new leaf. What are you doing, Rose? Ooh, do you want to see something cool on this crystallinum leaf? That is a predatory mite that is on the hunt for thrips. Yay! I support your work, sir. Thank you. So there are a few more. Ooh, the glass is dirty. Seedlings. Crystallinum. I have a lot of crystallinum seedlings because one of my friends had a lot of seeds, so I'm lucky like that. They are doing okay. Again, they sometimes dry out too much because they're in moss, but overall I seem to have improved my knowledge a little bit, and I'm also giving them bigger pots, which has helped. Careful. I was having them in too small pots, which led to this kind of thing where the leaves just... Also, this was from too much air circulation, but it's growing better. And this one is looking really nice, although I just touched it quite roughly when I was putting another plant back, so I hope it's okay. But this is a crystallinum. Yeah, it's nice. It's happy. Ooh, careful for forgetty. So we have a few more. I should have kept that one out, otherwise it's so full. Okay, I'm just gonna keep these out as I show you. Oh, a new leaf! This is the fun thing about having several seedlings. You never know what's coming out because I don't pay that much attention to them. I just try to leave them alone, otherwise I damage them. So this taking out part I don't do very often. This is another one that's a little bit bigger than the other ones, and you can see maybe the shimmer in the leaf, but also the crystal, which is why they are called crystallinum. On this side, the edge of the leaf, you can see a little bit of like chlorosis, the leaf going a little bit lighter. And actually I learned that this might be called bleaching, which my friend Adansonia on Instagram, her name is Kat or Katya, she told me this. And that means that probably my light was a little bit too bright. So that's why I moved it even more over to the right instead of in the center of the terrarium. So that's one. Another one that's doing really well for crystallinum care. Ooh, come out, baby. Yes. Is this one. This is getting proper big now. This was the previous leaf, and then this is the newest one that is just about hardening off right now. Can you see the shimmer, the glitter of those veins? It is insane, you guys. I had no idea how beautiful this was from just Instagram. And again, you can see the light, the leaf is a little bit light. So again, a little bit too much, probably light. It's supposed to be dark like that, but instead it's lighter green, and it's, you can see the veins a little bit more clearly. So definitely making sure that this is sitting back away from the light a little bit more. And there you can see the new leaf coming in, and it's growing some new roots. So this is going to be an awesome plant. I hope it grows as beautiful as his brothers and sisters at my friend's house. They are so cool. We have a few more. I guess I'm just going to take them out. This one first is my Anthurium forgetti, which is quite rough looking, to be honest. Two previous leaves died off because they were sitting in front of the fan, and I didn't know that they couldn't take that much air circulation. So the first two leaves that were actually having that no sinus, closed sinus, whatever you want to call it, peltate, they died off. And these were the baby leaves that I grew before. But at least this one survived. I'm happy about that. It has some bends and holes because I pushed it too hard against the pot, and that made a hole in the leaf. But at least it survived, and it looks like from this side you can see a little bit better. Can you? It looks like a new leaf will come out. And I think it will help that I made the terrarium a little bit warmer because it was about 18 degrees inside here. And now during the day it's 25, and at night it is 18. So that's much better. Even though Anthuriums can take cooler nights, down to 15 degrees, I think. They prefer it even, from what I've heard. This moss is very dry. I'm gonna give this some water before I show you the next one. Oh, and I actually didn't even tell you his name. This is Alfonso. And the biggest crystallinum we've got here is named Chris. Very original names, I know. I'm like that. But yes, Alfonso, Chris. And then here we've got one of my favorites. This is Reggie, the Anthurium regale. And I'll take him out as well. I'm very careful with him now because I've messed up so many leaves already. As you can see here, this is a leaf that I touched too much, so it started to brown on the edges. It is very green. That is from not having enough circulation, but I improved that later. And then this one also very damaged from me touching it and having tiny little edges that started to just keep going, crawling inwards. But this leaf only has a tiny spot here at the bottom that is browning. And my friend Niche from Instagram, Niche's Plants, and she has a YouTube as well. She has an amazing plant collection. And she said to put cinnamon on this. It helps to stop the brown from spreading. But I haven't tested that out myself. This leaf is also quite light still. It does come out a little bit lighter, but it does look a little bit bleached. And what I love most about this is the veins that stand up. It's hard to see, and if you haven't owned an Anthurium, you might not know this, but they really stand up, and it's so weird and so cool. And it's starting to get nice veins on the side as well, not just the midriff, but like more veins in general. And of course, this plant grows so quick. There's a new leaf on the way. That's exciting. I'm just gonna leave this out for a moment because we only have 2 left. This is my Monstera obliqua. It came with this leaf, which is also a little bit bleached. It grew this leaf for me, which is super bleached, as you can see. It doesn't even come off as yellow as it is. So I moved it all the way. That's why it was sitting in the back, away from the light, hiding behind the bigger Anthurium. It is growing a new leaf. So you guys asked for updates since the last video. If you haven't seen me receive this, check out the Hoya video that I did with Rogier. The moss is starting to get a little bit dry, so I'm going to give that a little spray. And then we're almost at the end. We have 1 more plant to go. Oh yeah, and if you think that this looks not like an obliqua, that is because we're used to seeing the Peruvian form with all the holes. But this is actually more of a type form, apparently, to when they discovered obliqua for the first time. And it's the Bolivian form. So yeah, that makes sense. You're just not used to seeing it. And it does look like other Monsteras as well. Like, I've had some messages saying that's not a Monstera obliqua, that looks like a Spiperu, or what was the other one, Friedrichsthalie or something. And I know they all look pretty similar, but yes, it is an obliqua. Sometimes it is obliqua. This is my Monstera. No, what am I saying? This is my Anthurium metallicum. I forgot the name right there. This is the latest leaf that came out, and this has been very slow to start. Actually, when I got it, it had only a few leaves, and it was just not growing for me for a long time, but that was because it was growing more roots, it seems like. And once it got started, it really got started. There are quite a few leaves on there now. This one is done, over, and it is rooted really well now. I recently moved this from pure moss to a mix with more soil in, just because I'm more confident with taking care of plants that are growing in soil and not moss. It does look a little bit wonky when I look at it now. If you see, they were all growing to the side. So I might have to turn this around. I actually might have to move this to my grow tent soon because it's so big. Plus it's getting a lot of light. So actually I might do that now. I might leave it out. Because it's also, can I show you this? Maybe. The leaves are also a little bit lighter, a little bit bleachy. But I really want to look at it as this every day. And that's what my terrarium is. I look at these plants every day because they're in my living room like a little fish tank of beauty. And in my tent, I don't look at them as much. But I guess for, oops, sorry, Reggie. For this one, definitely it would be better to do that. I actually might also move the Monstera obliqua there because it is so bleached. That is not good. So I think I'm going to move Reggie to the spot of, oh, Matt. I didn't tell you his name, but this is Matt. Metallicum is named Matt. Everything is an alliteration in my house. Here you can actually see some of the tiles that I used underneath the heat mat as well to make sure that they were stable. So Reggie, then we can put Chris in front here. And then we can put Forgetti, Alfonso. So I guess that's it for my terrarium tour. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you liked my most precious plants. Not necessarily in money value, but just in my collection. I really, really love these. And I'm so happy they're all growing and doing well. I hope they continue to do that throughout the winter because it's always a little bit scarier. The room gets quite cold and then I'm afraid that all the plants will just stop growing or even worse. So I'm happy to see them all up close. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing to my channel. I want to say a huge thank you to my patrons and my YouTube members. The newest patron that just came in is Pascal. Welcome so much to our family. I hope you join the Discord chat soon, or maybe by the time I've edited this, you've already joined. I'm always a little bit behind with editing. Let me know what else you want to see for Vlogmas. I am making more videos right now, so I might have time to make what you want to see. And I will see you soon. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.